Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Husky, and I don't know what my cat's doing back there. Stop being weird. He's just kind of back there. I'm gonna record a couple of these today. Thank you all for some of the engagement and some of the subscribers and everything like that. I really appreciate it. The involvement in my Pokemon sleep journey. I'm excited to, continue posting some stuff about Pokemon sleep, which I absolutely love. Finally, getting a trigger from my Gardevoir today. This is going to be the second episode here of my box tour series. We talked about my man Venusaur yesterday. And today we're going to continue that with talking about another Kanto starter. We're going to talk about my Blastoise today. So let's go ahead and make dinner. I want to keep some of kind of a little bit of everything, but I can get rid of some of these soybeans. T-Tar's bringing in quite a lot. Gotta have my Aldi flavored water. Alright, great. It's about 7 o'clock p.m. Getting dinner in for Snorlax pretty early. Again, next week is the Prelude event, and I'm not going to be going super hard. I'm going to be going to Lapis, looking for Quaxley, because of the increased spawns and more candies for Sprigatito, but I don't really need a Fuecoco. We'll talk about him eventually as well. But I'm not really in the market for a Fuecoco, and I have quite a lot of candies for him. But that's my plan for next week. I'm not going to go super hard, not going to use a good camp ticket. I'm not a free-to-play player, but I'm not like a whale or anything like that. I just pay for the monthly premium pass. So I get my monthly good camp ticket, and I've used a lot of them recently, grinding Master 20 on the first 3 islands, which I have now done, and I need a little bit of a break. I am not equipped to start looking for Master 20 on Snowdrop, Lapis, or Old Gold Power Plant. I'm just not there yet. My box is not prepared. So we're just going to be taking it slow. I'm looking to prepare some ingredients, so you can take a look at my bag if you didn't see it. I'm getting just kind of a little bit of everything. Tomorrow, I'm going to swap on, after I get the 17 cooks, I'm going to swap on just a couple more Pokemon to get a good amount of ingredients together so that hopefully I'll be able to make something good immediately next week and start us off strong. But let's talk about the topic at hand. The next Pokemon showcase from my box that I wanted to talk about is my first ever level 60 Pokemon. Right here, right before Venusaur. This is Big Bro. This is my Blastoise. And we talked about my Venusaur yesterday. And obviously that thing, he's right here, is absolutely cracked. If you didn't see that video where I analyze him, you can go ahead and watch that. He is a ridiculous Venusaur. This is not the same. For that, I just got kind of really lucky because that was like my first catch ever. And this is also a very early catch. October of 2023, very early catch before I really knew what the sub-skills and nature were all about. I was just using basically anything I caught. There's a lot of early Pokemon that I have that I just kind of used without really thinking about it too much. And that resulted in a lot of investments that today me would think are a little bit subpar, but 2 years ago me, who wasn't really very well equipped with the information to handle what all of these sub-skills and stuff meant, invested in things because I had them. One of those was this Blastoise, Big Bro. You can see that, at this point, I invested him already, and getting him to level 60 around Valentine's Day, because it was the same week that the Clodsire Eclair came out, so I was able to make that pretty consistently that week. It ended up being the right choice for me. Sometimes you invest things that are a little bit more subpar, and it ends up working out for you. It just depends on what's in your box and the game that you want to play. But what I've got here is Milk Cacao AAB list. So I was producing a lot of milk for a long time till I got to level 60. And now I have this mixed list where I get a good amount of cacao and a good amount of milk. The problem here is I don't have any ingredient finding sub-skills until level 100. I have inventory up, which is nice. He's got a big inventory. helping speed, which is also great, and I have skill level up S. So I did catch him as a war turtle, so it is skill level 3 instead of skill level 4, which you'd expect from skill level up S. I could give it a sub-skill seed, bring that up to skill level up M, or I could just pop it a main skill seed, but it doesn't really matter to me much. That's not really what you're using Ingredient Specialist for. He's got a lonely nature, so pretty good. Even for Ingredient Specialist, speed of help up is definitely pretty good. And he's also got my 1,000-hour ribbon. I've had him for so long and used him for so long that he does what he needs to do. So with that, let me bring you all to talk about kind of what this Pokemon does for me. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth this time. So I've put all of his sub-skills and stuff in that. I've made sure that the skill level is 3. And we're going to give you an ingredient count A, just to level 65 to kind of show you. So even without your ingredient finding sub-skills, helping bonus, or anything like that, we've still got him sitting at 89. At level 50, he was about 92. Level 60, it's doing ingredient count A, so obviously that's going to go down a little bit. What if we went for ingredient strength here, just to kind of get an overall picture of what that looks like? I mean, I kind of just want like ingredient count generally, but you can see here, looking at it, level 60, if it will load. This thing is always so slow. I can look at it level 50 maybe. Or we just go back to ingredient count A. 79. Yeah, so I mean, even with the strength, it's kind of showing what the best options would be. The ingredient strength that would get me with the best possible setup here is this quiet-natured. Is it helping bonus? What is it saying that is? I don't know all of the symbols in here. Skill level up M is what it's saying. Would be the best for ingredient strength. Okay, so I need to go back to ingredient count is what I'm hearing. Let's just do that. And then we'll take a look at, you know, what it looks like at 50 and stuff, and it'll give me the count for just the milk, but still, I'll look at the production comparison as well. At level 30, you can see that the quiet-natured one with ingredient finding up, inventory up, is the best, giving me a lot of milk at level 30, as opposed to what I have, which is 80 milk. So it is a pretty big difference. At level 50, 83 milk is what I was just about getting, versus 120. At level 60, if, you know, that'll eventually load. We'll see. Oops. Level 60, it's less obviously because mine has a mixed list. It looks like 147 ingredient count if it had the mono list, 55 with the not mono list. I wish it kind of just show me like the amount of ingredients that I got in general, but it kind of has like these mixed lists. But basically, you know, mono milk would get me quite a lot of milk. But what I'm sitting at now, about 55 milk, is pretty much enough for what I need. If I take a look at ingredient B, obviously every level will be, like, it rates it as 100 even though it's not unlocked yet. I need it for level 60. So if that'll eventually load. But basically, I'm demonstrating here that this isn't the best Blastoise that you could come up with. It's pretty good. It gets me what I need, and I'll, you know, explain why that is as well. Taking a look at the level 60, the best one would get me about 84, looks like 84 cacao, versus what I'm getting about 40 with what I have. And obviously mono milk lists and milk and sausage lists aren't really getting you anything. So mono cacao Blastoise, basically mono cacao Blastoise, gets you about 88. And what I'm getting is about 55 milk, 40-ish cacao. What I have set up here to kind of demonstrate is this is my Blastoise here with what it currently is. So as it shows, 56 milk, just about, and 40 cacao per day, which is pretty good. It's pretty good. If I look, I have this infographic from Velociraptor's Discord, which I absolutely love and I use it all the time. It's a fantastic one. So what did I say? I got 56 milk, 40 cacao. So on some of the best dishes, which I tend to sit on Dream Eater butter curry, which is here. It got cut off a little bit when I did like the little bit of a print. Dream Eater butter curry, 40 cacao is more than enough. 36 with a couple extra cacao is what I need to make Dream Eater butter curry in a day, and 56 milk, more than enough here to make Dream Eater butter curry. So it can make this basically by itself, and then I can run a Luxray and a Meowscarada for potatoes, or I can just run a Victory Bell with ABA or ABB with a little bit of supplement. It makes it pretty good by itself. So I don't have to worry about having multiple Pokemon on my team to make this Dream Eater butter curry. For the salads don't use cacao. So this is where, you know, we could run into a little bit of a problem. They don't really use these ingredients, so I don't use Blastoise a lot anyway, but this is my option for milk farming. So if I was using it for milk farming and just having the cacao separately, what is 18 times 3? Let me get a calculator up. 18 times 3 is what? 54. So 54 milk is what I would need to make the apple acid yogurt dressed salad, and on a good day I will get that with this Blastoise, even having that mixed list. Now taking a look at our dessert, which I hope you can still see just fine, some of it at the bottom has gotten a little bit caught off. The desserts are where we see a lot more milk, we see a lot more cacao. So it's not going to be able to make a lot of these dishes by itself. It can cover the milk for flour gift macarons, tea time corn scones, Jigglypuffs. It can for all of the top dishes that have milk, except Clodsire Eclair. That takes a lot more ingredients to fill to begin with, but it can't do that by itself. And it can't make the amount of cacao for flour gift macarons. I'm not really at the point in my game, regardless, where I have enough coffee as well to make the Clodsire Eclair, so I'm not super focused on that dish at the moment. This is also without Good Camp Ticket, by the way, but even with Good Camp Ticket, it wouldn't do that much more to begin with. But it can't make the flour gift macarons by itself. It needs a little bit more help for the cacao specifically if I'm focused on this dish. Tea time corn scones, it's fine with some extra cacao to shove in for pot filler. Same with Jigglypuffs, Fruity Flan. Same with Mold Breaker, Corn Tiramisu. For everything else, I'm kind of focused mainly on Jigglypuffs, Fruity Flan, just on off weeks when I'm not running a camp ticket. Flour gift macarons takes me one pot expansion, one skill level 3 pot expansion with the Magnezone that I have. So I can make that as long as I have a little bit more supplement in terms of the milk and cacao. We haven't gotten to talking about my egg problem yet, but, you know, we'll get there. So I'm mainly kind of focusing on this dish. Flour gift macarons does pretty well. So there are a couple things that I have put up here. This Blastoise does a lot by itself, and it can run pretty well on its own. I have this Blastoise as well, which I'll bring up here. I partially invested this ABA Blastoise for cacao before anything existed to get me cacao, and no ingredient Pokemon existed that could get me a decent amount of cacao. So I temp invested this guy, and I would often run him and my other Blastoise together before this one was level 60, just looking for that extra milk and cacao. So all things considered, this one, this ABA, helping with double helping speed, inventory up, it's decent. It was another thing that I, on a whim, temp invested. But if I were to get this one to level 60, I can show you here. Getting him to level 60, just from what I have. Maybe throw that 2,000 hour ribbon on him just to see him at his maximum capacity. He gets me 71 milk, 23 cacao, which I don't necessarily need. But it would help me a lot with the Clodsire Eclair. So the amount of milk then that I would have, let's say 56, let's say 71. So would get me 127 milk per day, which if we look back at the Clodsire Eclair, 26 times 3 is 78 only. So with that little bit of extra help, I can easily get enough milk for the Clodsire Eclair. Now, the Clodsire Eclair also requires 90 cacao, so do we have that? 40 plus 23, we still do not have that. So ultimately, I have decided at this point that this Blastoise is not necessarily worth investing, and I would just rather try to supplement milk and cacao somewhere else. Which leads me to my next option, this guy, which I will talk about, you know, potentially more in depth when I kind of talk about, like, you know, lower Pokemon on my list that I haven't really used yet. Caught him a little while ago, not too long ago. He's right here. This little man, I caught him not long ago, and he is very strong. So that's him already programmed in here. If we make him a Clodsire, make him level 60, he is going to get me 82 cacao, which still isn't enough on its own without good camp ticket to make enough cacao for the Clodsire Eclair. But running this Blastoise for the milk and this guy for the cacao, we could be sitting pretty good. Unfortunately, that does still mean that I have to put another Pokemon on my team for milk, and then I'm also focused on the honey, also focused on the eggs, which, you know, means that the Clodsire Eclair is just probably not in my sights at the moment. But with the amount of cacao needed for the flower gift macarons, I don't really need another thing for milk. So that's why I'm kind of focused on that dish right now. I have, not this guy, but these two guys on the team can cover the milk and cacao, even at level, even getting him to level 30. What does it need? 75? 40 plus 47 is more than enough. Even him at level 30 and him at level 60 can cover flower gift macarons with the two of them. And then I can run my Venusaur that we talked about. Even for like half the day, it'll get me more than enough honey. And then we have our egg problem. We'll get to that in a later episode. It's always a problem, regardless. But with a little bit of prep, we can do it. And that's kind of what I use my Blastoise for. The main thing that he has been useful for on off weeks is when I do roll curries and I get the Dream Eater butter curry, because he can do this easily, and it's really not that low tier of a meal. It also does fruity flan with the amount of milk that it gets, and I can do flower gift macarons pretty decently if I prepare. So I wanted to also take a look at what the kind of best Blastoises would look like if I had the best milk Blastoise, best cacao Blastoise for the ingredient counts. Mono milk with ingredient finding, M, healthy speed M, inventory up L. That should be. Inventory up L. I think I just duplicated them, so I'll change that too. And I gave them both 2,000 hour ribbons just to show you the maximum effectiveness. But this one gets me about 160 milk. This one gets me nearly 100 cacao, and 24 milk. So we'd be looking pretty good if we went with those. But I kind of like the more mixed list, AAB, because it gets pretty close to an even amount of milk and cacao. Now, if I made this guy again, and I gave it instead of ABB, I gave it ABA, we now have, you know, much more of a disparity here. Dishes tend to need more cacao than they do milk. So, you know, the best option for that, probably looking like this, but even some of those low tier dishes need a little bit more than 24 milk a day. So I think I'm doing pretty good here. Having the milk be mostly covered, supplement the cacao with something else in the future. But I'm not necessarily looking to do that at the moment. So let me bring him back up. We're almost at Master 9. You may think my progress is abysmal. I don't. I've just been chilling. So this is Big Bro. My level 60 Blastoise, my first ever level 60, and one of my first 1,000-hour ribbon Pokemon. I hope you enjoyed episode 2 here. Look forward to episode 3. I think you might be able to guess which Pokemon I'm going to be talking about next. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!